Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a fantastic Friday and a great week so far. Today, of course, we're going to be diving into Cardano, and this is a video that I think many of you are going to like. We're going to be covering a number of different topics. We're going to be going into everything. We're going to be taking a look at the charts. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, pulling up some really interesting levels to look out for, and structure that could potentially be forming. What Bitcoin did yesterday was a bit of a godsend in the sense that it actually fell below what potentially could have been a neckline for a head and shoulders. We're also going to be going over some clips from Charles Hoskinson's, not an AMA, video that he posted yesterday. This was really in regards to sentiment and market sentiment. Those of you that watch me daily will know via the comment section that sentiment tends to wane, and lots of people tend to vent, if you will, take their frustration out in the comment section. That's fine. You guys are absolutely entitled to your own opinions. That's what the comment section is there for. We don't delete any comments. But there's no reason for this. There's a bigger picture going on, and we're going to play these two clips to really illustrate and highlight that. We're going to be touching on where we left off yesterday as well in relation to the epic bounce that I was expecting. It hasn't really yet been an epic bounce. I think it's around about 10% bounce from the levels that we set out in relation to the golden pocket. So we're going to be talking about the fibs again. We're going to be covering a number of things outside of this also. So without further ado, as we've got a lot to get on with, guys, let's get straight into this video. And Cardano is sat around about $1.86. Very quickly, before I start, a huge thank you to everybody delegating with the All-In pool, which is the official All-In Crypto stake pool. There is also a link to our Discord in the description. I know that we've had many comments saying that it helps, certainly in times like this where sentiment is low, to be in a community with like-minded individuals. Everything is totally free. I don't charge anybody for anything. The Discord is there, and if you guys want to come over and stake with us, we are now minting, as you can see here. Feel free, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to have you on board. So let's start and we're going to get into the clips in just a second, where Cardano is today. And we saw that bounce that we were somewhat predicting yesterday. This is the first time I've really gone through Fibonacci retracement tool with you. Reason we pulled it up was because it is somewhat accurate. These levels do often play out. We kind of explained in a little bit more detail what the Fibonacci retracement tool actually is. What I'm going to do is quickly make my face a little bit smaller for you so that you can see more of the charts and less of me. I'm sure many of you will appreciate that. But you can see this level here, the 0.65, which we add on to our Fibonacci to create this kind of golden pocket between the 0.61 and the 0.65, acted perfectly as support. And we said it's very typical and traditional. Certainly we looked at this in great detail, that you have this wick. Yesterday we were around about $1.76. We say it's very, very typical that you have this wick down because people short this level knowing that people will put on longs. So they'll try and squash the longs, and ultimately I'll show you in the 1 hour because this really illustrates just how well this actually acted as a W double bottom, essentially. We also keep you up to date on Twitter. If you're not already following me on Twitter, guys, head over to @RealAllInCrypto. You can see that you sold off here. The strength brought you back. You came back. You see that. You see that now acting as support. You come up to this 0.618 level. It holds you and finds you as resistance. You come down to form this beautiful double bottom, coming once again to the 0.65 level, and then you look at continuation. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. We are far from that. Ultimately, you've got a number of sort of contradictory signs taking place at the moment, like this EMA, for example, on the 4 hourly that typically will hold you underneath it in a downtrend. You're kind of battling with that at the moment. We've already seen somewhat of a test against it. But what is essentially going on is you're at the mercy of Bitcoin right now. You know, the only reason Cardano sold off, this sell-off here was largely due to Bitcoin and the market as a whole. And Charles is going to sum this up in the clips that we're about to go into. So things look good for now. It's not really been an epic bounce, but the important thing is it could be the start of an epic bounce. I'm going to dive into Bitcoin in just 1 second. I want to highlight the RSI on a number of levels for you guys. So if you bear with me whilst I kind of get this aligned, how we typically bottomed out in the last one, and we looked at a number of indicators yesterday that also suggested an epic bounce was coming, was you can see when you get down to this 50 mark, it typically holds you as support, and that's what it did over here, and that's where you are today, ladies and gentlemen. So are we about to see the bottom in? It's sort of too early to tell. We need to see how the next couple of days pan out, what kind of strength we show. And really, we need to pay attention to Bitcoin. And there's something in particular that I'm looking at for Bitcoin that we're going to talk about in just a second. Can you see this bottom over here was correlated with this here? And you see the similar thing over here, guys, with where you are today. Can you see this? So there are some fantastic indicators and signals at play at the moment, but it is really too early to tell. But what we spoke about in yesterday's video in relation to the direction that we thought we were going to go, and we came out yesterday to make the video because I know how scary it is when things are pulling back, how worried people get. But ultimately, this is markets. This is a Fibonacci retracement tool designed to look at retracements. You are still absolutely in an uptrend. There's no doubt in my mind about that. You're just going for a pullback. You can see just how nicely the 0.65 held as a support. Now, in regards to Bitcoin and where you are, it's very interesting what's currently taking place. I'll quickly drop these fibs on to show you what I think may be happening. And that is, if you see the previous move that we currently went on, which mirrors the one that we're on today, you can see that the 0.5 actually held you very nicely as support. You can see this if I get kind of into it. Ultimately, you've now embarked on another impulsive move and you are looking to retrace, potentially back down to it. You've fallen short, but this is a good thing. What Bitcoin did yesterday, I was watching these charts very, very closely, was actually sell below what potentially could have set up as a neckline. And I'll show you this right now. So what I was really watching for, and as we've sort of gone over the fibs, I'll take these off, is a head and shoulders setting up. So I was really looking for something like this being your left shoulder, this being your somewhat complex head, and then maybe going on to forming a right shoulder in a similar way to what you did here, guys. Can you see this is your left shoulder, this is your head, this is your right shoulder. I didn't want that to repeat. So the fact that Bitcoin continued to sell off, if we see some kind of a basing here, that's more of a bullish signal indicator to me than if you just continue to sell off. So things actually look pretty good on Bitcoin's front. This is still something to watch out for. Head and shoulders play out all the time, guys. You can see, of course, we all know about this famous one over here. And of course, we know about the inverted head and shoulders that you're actually currently in, that we pointed out on the Twitter and have it actually pinned to the channel. So there's a number of things, of course, to watch out for, but things don't look too bad. Bitcoin did probably the best thing that it potentially could have, but you are still in a little bit of a danger zone here and just seeing potentially a relief rally. It's too early to really tell, and ultimately if Bitcoin does sell off, you're going to expect Cardano and the rest of the crypto market to do it. That was obviously evident yesterday. So things actually look pretty good, guys. I am expecting continuation with this. We've just got to break some sort of key levels of significance. You can see not only is this the EMA on the 4 hourly, but you also have a previous resistance level holding you. So what I want to do now, guys, is jump into some of the clips from Charles yesterday where he talks about sentiment specifically, and he talks about things like price, not in relation to how high he thinks it's going to go, but why on the short term price really doesn't matter. And this is something that we try and drill into you time and time again on the channel, that price is, markets are markets. They're very, they're not always the best indication of how things are going on a short term, just because so many external factors influence them. And in relation to Cardano and its metrics, we've never seen them as high as they currently are, yet the price hasn't really dictated that. And that's because they're a part of a market that is, like I say, manipulated and influenced by external factors. So we'll play the first clip. We've got 2 clips to play you. And we'll tie in a little bit of evidence to support some of the things that he's saying and really highlight again to you, this is the lifespan of Bitcoin. This is the real value proposition with crypto, ladies and gentlemen, is that you are early in terms of adoption. Cryptocurrencies is held by a very small amount of the population and is used by an even small amount. That's going to grow, and the value of the crypto space is going to grow as a whole, and your individual coins are going to do very well out of that, certainly the ones with real worth and merit. And Cardano absolutely is that. I actually believe that Cardano is probably one of the coins, certainly I'm now adjusted my strategy to suit this, that has one of the highest probabilities of success because of what they're doing and the way that they do things. So enough of me rabbiting on, guys. We've gone over the charts. Let's get into some of the clips. Very short, the first one, and the second one is a bit longer, but this is really sort of highlighting some of the points that we've raised on the channel and show you that this is the case. This is what we have at hand.
Because Thanksgiving. And I've just been kind of looking at a lot of my reports, and I have all kinds of notes and other things I've taken. But we look at a lot of sentiment scoring and sentiment analysis. And lately I've seen unusually high amount of people that are obsessed with things like price. Or, they say stuff like, oh, well, everything's failing, the sky is falling. And there just seems to be an utter lack of perspective in this space. So from time to time, I do make videos Last year, I made one right after the markets completely collapsed because of COVID, and everything was down like 30%, 40% in a day, and there was blood in the streets, and people got so worried. And there was a call to fundamentals in that presentation, in that speech. And I basically said to people, calm down, chill out. It's okay. You see, cryptocurrencies are a very unique moment in human history. And I think it's really important, especially for new people who have kind of fair weathered their way into the industry, to understand what that moment is, because perspective has been lost. And as a consequence, calm is no longer there. It wasn't too long ago.
We'll stop that there. He then goes on to explain why cryptocurrency is such a unique moment, and the fact that the legacy system that we have, the fiat systems, are all failing, and that crypto has an opportunity to replace that, and goes back to this whole adoption curve and how you're still early on that, and things haven't really kicked off properly yet. We're going to play the second clip, and then I'm going to love and leave you to your Fridays. I'm sure you've got many great things planned for the weekend. So we'll play the second clip, and then we'll really wrap things up, and I'll let you guys go.
Other than to hurt our industry. That's a macro event I have no control over. No one in our industry has any control over. Not to mention all the other macro events, from China banning Bitcoin, from all kinds of economic events, to this unlimited monetary policy creating artificial distortions in the equity market, to negative interest rates, to dozens of other things that come, regulatory and otherwise. Every week, there seems to be something that comes out, positive or negative, that has some degree of influence and impact on our space. And then we have fair weather CEOs who possess enormous power who come into our space and they distort things in their own ways, from Elon Musk with Dogecoin to statements by the FANGs. And it seems like you can't do much there. So in the short term, what do? You can't do anything. You keep your nose to the grindstone and you focus on the long term, the fundamentals, the trends, the vision. Are we growing? Yes. Is the technology built on solid foundations? Yes. Do we have the right innovation process? Absolutely. Are the right processes to empower the community over time to be able to deal with any threat, regardless of what it is? Of course. Is the system getting more decentralized over time? Of course. Is the programming model amenable to a multi-paradigm computing approach, such as certified software? Yes, of course. And dozens of other areas like EVM compatibility and compatibility for mainstream developers. These are foundational capabilities. They require discipline and a calm hand, good leadership, and a lot of hard work in order for these things to exist. And once they're done, you get to the next plateau. And then that enables you to get to the next plateau and fight new adversaries like quantum computers and dozens of other things that will exist in the next 10, 20 years. They allow you to explore new markets like the metaverse, the spatial web, these things. They allow you to look at how to make DeFi real fi and get it into the hands of the billions of people who need it and make it useful for people. They also allow you to compete with monopolies and network effects. It's not lost on me that the browser and mobile computing are in some way permissioned environments.
We'll leave that there. It was a great video that he released. We'll leave a link to it in the description. It's on my Twitter. He's got a real good way of rallying the troops, so to speak. But what he's saying is absolutely correct. There's something far greater going on here, and the short term is largely influenced by external factors that aren't really related to the underlying crypto, certainly price. This whole slumpy kind of price movement that we've seen, you can see we are really getting held below this EMA. Lots of people don't like EMAs, but they are a good indication of strength and weakness. This gradual decline in price has been at a time when Cardano has never been in such a powerful and strong position. So, it ties into everything that we're saying. And ultimately, guys, fundamentals are going to win out in the long run. I'm a big believer of that. My money is where my mouth is on that. And I hope you guys aren't finding this too stressful. I know how things are, but nobody told you that investing in crypto is going to be easy. Investing full stop isn't an easy game. That's why not everybody's rich from doing it. However, the people that really have vision and understand the fundamentals and go into investments based on that do very, very well. And I think you guys are set in that situation. And in regards to adoption, this is the entire life cycle for Bitcoin. You can see that the trend is very, very clear, guys. And we use this to describe our sort of lengthening cycle theory and why we think there's merit to it. But things look good, and this is still on a journey. And this, of course, is Bitcoin, but this represents really the crypto space. Everything still follows Bitcoin. I'm going to love and leave you on that note, guys. I hope you've all had a fantastic week, and it hasn't been too stressful. We made the video yesterday really just to say, look, you're likely to find support in this level. We're going to see continuation to the upside. This is just a pullback. That's the whole purpose of the Fibonacci retracement tool, to see is after an impulsive move, where do you come back and retrace to? And it's not uncommon that Cardano actually finds its feet here. Certainly, if you look, this is very interesting with the RSI. This point here, just before the breakout, is where you are currently today. It's too early to tell, really, but ultimately, you know, the break is coming and new all-time highs are coming. It's a matter of when, not if, at this point. I'm going to love and leave you on that note, guys. Remember, we do have the stake pool for those of you looking to delegate. We are gaining delegators daily. And of course, if you guys want to join the Discord, the link to the Discord is in the description. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you in the next YouTube video.